Hey coaches, my name is Becky Schroeder and I am your Beachbody coach. I've been getting a lot of questions lately about how and why I use Evernote to stay organized in my business and in my life. And so I thought I would just make a new tutorial to show you how I use the tool and in what ways it helps me stay organized. So first off, a couple things. Basically, I decided to standardize on using Evernote for all aspects of my organizational system because it allows me to stay organized in multiple parts of my life, whether that be my Beachbody business, my corporate career, or literally my personal life, and have all the information that I need in one place that's accessible from the application on my laptop, accessible from any web browser, or accessible from the application on my phone. So for me, somebody who really wants to be organized but struggles with the discipline of staying organized, this has become my digital file cabinet for all information versus what I have had in the past, which is multiple, spiral bound notebooks laying around, sticky notes, pieces of paper shoved here and there, and a giant pile of paper on my desk that I never seem to get through. And that is essentially useless to me because I don't know what's in there, even though, at the time I thought it was important enough to save. So, the reason I love Evernote is because, again, I can have everything in one place. And the most important thing is that I learned as soon as something's in here, it is immediately searchable. So, whatever I want to find that I've put in here, I can simply type it up here in the search bar and it will pull up all the information that I have in my Evernote library pertaining to that word or keyword. Okay, so that's the biggest thing for me is I can't remember anything, so I write everything down, and now I write everything down in Evernote so that then when I go, oh yeah, did somebody ask me about size? I can go to Evernote, I search for size, and it pulls up all the stuff that I have put in here pertaining to that topic. Okay, so that's the basic. That's why I use it. I would highly recommend that you use this for everything as well. So, just to break that down a little bit more, really the main ways in which I use Evernote for my Beachbody business is a couple of things. I use this as our team library, so information that I need to share with my team and again have in one place. I use it as my client and coach tracking system, so for tasks and reminders. And then I literally just use it to have a place again to put all of those ideas or things that you would normally scribble on a sticky note and put somewhere. I virtually scribble them on a sticky note and stick them in here in Evernote so that I can find them again later. Okay, so let me just take you through how I use this thing. Right here, we're starting on the area called notebooks. I think of notebooks as file folders in a file cabinet. Okay, so then you can take any sort of file folders that are related to each other. So, like, say, all the file folders that are related to Beachbody, and put them into a file drawer, right? So, you want all the stuff that's related to each other in the same file drawer. If you think of your notebooks as your file folders, right? Your Evernote notebooks equal file folders, then your Evernote stacks is your file drawer. So you take a collection of notebooks and you combine them in a stack so that they all stay together in the same drawer. Pretty simple, right? Not rocket science there. To go down to the next level, your notes are like literally the pieces of paper that you would put into your file folder. Okay, so again, instead of writing something on a notepad, instead of writing something on a sticky note, you make an Evernote note and then you file it away wherever you want to based on how you like to organize yourself. So that is how I have been able to use this for multiple parts of my business. So for my corporate career at Esponte, for my Beachbody business, and then for my personal life. Okay? So all this stuff's in one place. I find it super easy. Okay, so let me show you how I use these notebooks. I'll take you through my team core conviction stack. This is the name of my Beachbody team. All right, so if you open up the stack, you're going to see there's multiple notebooks under here. I'll go to the first one, which is basically our main team notebook. It's the collection of stuff that the team may need to reference. Okay, so just the basics are, simple files like things that they might want to copy and paste and send quickly to a prospect or to a customer, right? How do you contact your coach relations? How do you contact customer service, FAQs, links to certain things that we need to reference on YouTube, all the way through like example challenge groups in here. So one of the things that I love about Evernote is that you can directly paste images into any note. So if you are browsing the internet and you see, a photo that you want to save off, you just right click on it, copy it, and then you paste it in here. You don't have to download the file, upload the file, none of that stuff. It's copy and paste for anything. All right. So for me, again, because I'm usually on the go and I can't remember anything, I like to save off all of my good challenge group posts so that if I'm rushing out the door to catch a flight in the morning and I need to make the daily post, I can just come to my challenge group for the 21-day fix, assuming it's a 21-day fix group, and I can copy and paste out any, good post. It has the day on it, it has the image, it has the text. I literally just copy it and throw it into the group, and I'm out the door in 2 minutes. Okay, so that's why I've organized all this stuff like this. You have a couple different example 21-day fix groups, you got free groups, mixed programs, PIO, whatever. I've just been collecting these every time I run a challenge group. And that way we have just a big library of posts that the team can pick from. If they need to do their own challenge group or they don't know what to say, they're brand new, they need guidance on how to make a good post, they can just copy and paste this stuff. Okay. We do other things like keeping emails in here. So those standard emails that you send to every lead or send to every client or coach in their first month, all this stuff, right? You just want to be able to copy and paste it. So like the most common one I use a lot is this auto ship one. If I have a coach or a client, it's basically the same for the client, that's coming up on their 3rd week of drinking Shakeology, and I want to say, hey, by the way, your auto ship is coming up. If you don't want it, here's how to cancel it. If you do want it, talk to me about getting the discount. That would be for the client. Okay. Event invites and scripts. So like I send out an invite, a Facebook invite every month to my challenge group. So that entails, creating a event cover, creating, what you want to paste in there, what to do once you create the event. How do you follow up with people? What do you say to them when you get them into once they've RSVP'd? Then what's the conversation like that you have with them? All that stuff, I've figured out what works for me through trial and error. So I've just documented it here all in one place so that when I have a new coach and I say, okay, you've been through our initial training, you want to start inviting to your next challenge group, here is the stuff you need to go successfully acquire some new clients using the method I use. Okay? It just goes on and on. This is just, scripts and templates and tips and tools and blah, blah, blah. I use this as like our team library. All right? So that's one way to use Evernote, is like a library of information that you want to be able to save off and reference later and or share with other people. The other way that I personally use Evernote is for my own business tracking. So if you see over here, I've got my business stack, and I separate this out because I don't necessarily want, my entire team seeing every person that I am potentially prospecting to come into my business. So this is a separate stack. But basically I have the same setup. I have, the basics of my business, things that I want to track for me, my daily to-do list, my, I keep a track on my own growth so that I can see if I'm really hitting my goals. I track my social media expansion so I can, again, see if I'm hitting my goals. And if not, I can focus on adding more people on a particular platform or whatever. I also keep stuff that I need to have access to quickly in here as well. Like as an example, every time I upload a video to YouTube, I put this as like my signature. So, if I'm doing that from my phone or even here on the web, I just want to make sure it's consistent. So I just come over here, copy, paste it, and I'm done. I don't have to retype all that out every single time. Okay. All right. So into the meat of this tracking is really when it comes to like my clients, my coaches, and my leads. The way I distinguish this is a lead is somebody that I'm in conversation with, but I have not, they've not purchased anything from me, or they don't even have like a free Team Beachbody account with me. I'm in the process of finding out their goals to hopefully acquire them as a customer or a coach. Okay. Whereas a client is at least, they have a free Team Beachbody account with me. They're associated with me in some way. Excuse me. Then coaches is self-explanatory. But the format is the same, and how I use all of these three categories of people is I have a template, right? And I've shared this with my team on my record of a person. Okay, so whatever they are, I want to keep track of certain things about them. And I want to have a list of things to remind me to do for them, depending on where they are in their stage. So let's say as a client, somebody that just bought a challenge pack for me and they're going to join my next group. What I would do is I would immediately come in here, I click in here, I select all, copy it, I click new note, paste it in, and then I put the person's name up here. Okay, whatever their name is. So great. So I then fill out this card about them. I say, okay, what sort of tags do I need to tag them with? They got the 21-day fix. They got Shakeology Greenberry. Are they a coach prospect? Did they say anything about, being interested in coaching? Maybe. They're in, Jacksonville, Florida, right? I'm just going across the bottom here. City, state, whatever. And then I usually will put what challenge group they're in. So 2015, let's just say May challenge group, even though it's July, whatever. Okay. I'll tell you more about that later. But I do that. For me, I keep track of everyone's email in my Gmail versus in the Beachbody email system, just because it's easier for me to send mass emails that way. I also put people in MailChimp so that I can send them pretty fancy newsletters. Okay, so I add them over there. I make sure that they are a contact in my email so that I have them to be able to access later. Okay, so then I just literally have a list here of things to remind me to do. I need to send them on day one. I need to send them their welcome email. I mail everybody a thank you card. I make sure they're added to the challenge group, etc. Okay, so I just check these off, make sure they're done. And then you can see what else goes on here from basically this is my 1 month of managing a client, because by the end of the month, they're either gonna, move on to the next group. They're going to become a coach. They're going to cancel their shake. Something's going to happen within the first month. All right. And then up here, this is where because again, I'll say this, I think a third time, I can't remember anything. So I got to write everything down. So here's where I put, as we've been, a lot of times as a client, this stuff will already be filled out from when they were a lead, right? We've been in discussion. So, are they married? Do they have kids? What's their why? Why are they interested in this? What weight goal are they trying to lose? All this information, this form, all that information goes here. I just type it out, okay? So that again, when I'm talking to them, when I'm following up with them and saying, hey, how'd you like your Shakeology? And they say something like, oh, I don't like it. I don't think I'm going to stick with it. I can reference back to their information, their specific information, well, that's a shame. I know you said that you really wanted to lose those 10 pounds to get ready for your daughter's wedding. And, let's strategize on how Shakeology could help you do that. Blah, 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 right? You're just referencing their own goals. So it helps me to have it written down. I keep kind of a log here of what our interaction dates were. So that, again, I know if it's been 2 weeks since I talked to the person, I can reference that in my next message and say, hey, I know it's been 2 weeks since we talked. How's it going with whatever, And then this is literally where I use Evernote, very similar to how many coaches use Asana. So whatever my next step is with them, let's say, again, they just signed up. I take care of all the day one tasks. Then I know that my next thing is on day 3. I need to log into my coach previous office view and send them the shipping information for their product. I'm not going to go into why I do that, but whatever, that's what I do. So when the person's shipping information posts in the previous office view, I send them an email that just says, let me know when you get your package, here's your tracking information. So if this is today, the 30th, then I would set a reminder for myself for 08/02, right? So 3 days from now, 31/1/2, I would say follow up with shipping info. Right? That's it. It's just a reminder for me. And I know it's a reminder because it's up here at the top. So then I come up to this little clock and I click on it and I say, remind me on August 2nd. And I know that the next thing I have to do is right here. So when this pops up as a reminder, I'm going to know what I need to do with them next. When you're looking at your reminders in here in Evernote, you'll see them under this reminder tab, and they're organized by date. So like I know on the 1st of August, I'm going to get an email in my inbox that has at least 2 reminders in it. It's going to say, hey, you need to go do something for Kelly. You need to go do something for Tara, right? Same thing with the rest of these. So similar to the way Asana works, you do get a daily email that says, hey, here's your list of stuff you need to do based on the reminders that you've set. I personally try to discipline myself to always have a reminder for every single person note that I have in here, because I feel strongly that you should not leave an action with a client, customer, or client, customer, coach, or prospect, whatever, without having your next action in mind. So even in this case, if it was a different scenario and you were speaking with a lead and they said, don't contact me for 6 months, whatever it might be, then you could say, okay, fine. You put the reminder for 6 months from now so that when that time has passed and you've personally forgotten what your next step with them was, Evernote will still remind you. You'll get an email, on that day, 6 months from now, and you go, oh yeah, okay, great. I'm going to send them an email. So that's how I use this for my tracking. Different from Asana where the whole task management thing is built in. This requires to me one additional step. Number one, I guess 2 additional steps. Number one, you got to make a template that works for you. What kind of information do you want to keep track of about your clients? What do you tend to forget? Make that part of your template. And then, literally the step is anytime you talk to somebody, you should have your Evernote open. You come to your template, copy it, create a new note, paste it in, and start filling that thing out. Set your reminder before you leave the document. Okay? That's it, guys. So again, just to recap, I use Evernote for multiple parts of my life. My Beachbody business, my corporate career, my personal information. It's like my one digital library where I am able to keep everything in one place. It's searchable, and I can get rid of the stacks of paper that are laying around my office. From a Beachbody standpoint specifically, I use this as a library for myself to save off any sort of good content that I create or good content that I find on the web, notes or my thoughts on, training, stuff that I want to reference later. I also use it as a place to share a common library with my team so that they have access to the same scripts and templates and things that I use so they can use them too. And then finally, I use it to track all my interactions with my clients, prospects, and coaches so that I stay on task with reminders on what I need to do every day when I sit down to work my business in my power hour. All right, that's it. I hope that helps. If you have questions, please just email me at fitnesswithbecky@gmail.com. I will talk to y'all later.